Imagine two children, same age, same city, same school. One of them will be broke by 40. The other one's family will still be wealthy in the year 2350. The difference isn't their grades, it's not their talent, it's not even their family's money. It's how their brains were programmed to think about money before they were old enough to spend any. And here's the terrifying part. Most of us got the wrong program installed. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how old money families rewire their children's brains from birth, and more importantly, how you can start rewriting yours right now. There are families in this world who have been wealthy for 300, 400, even 500 years. Not famous wealthy, not social media wealthy. Quietly, stubbornly, generationally wealthy. Through wars, market crashes, revolutions, 2 world wars, the complete digital transformation of the global economy. Now here's the question that should be keeping you up at night. Why does 70% of wealthy families lose everything by the 3rd generation, but some families stay rich for centuries? The answer is not luck. It's not location. It's not even inheritance. It's a completely different mental operating system, one that gets installed in old money children from birth, through dinner table conversations, through the language their parents use, through the decisions they watch adults make every single day. Psychologists call it schema formation, the mental frameworks your brain uses to automatically interpret the world. And old money families have been engineering these schemas deliberately for generations. The result? Their children literally think about money, time, and risk in a fundamentally different way. Today, we're breaking down the 5 core psychological programs behind generational wealth and giving you the exact mindset hacks to start installing them. Let's go. Here's something your brain is doing right now, and you don't even realize it. It's called present bias. A well-documented cognitive bias where your brain assigns more emotional value to rewards that happen now versus rewards that happen in the future. This is why you check your phone instead of working out, why you buy the new phone instead of investing the $800. And it's exactly why the average person thinks about money in cycles of weeks and months, maybe 5 years if they're really disciplined. Old money families have systematically trained their brains to bypass present bias entirely. When John D. Rockefeller established his family trust in the early 20th century, he gave one explicit instruction to his heirs: never spend the principal. Ever. Not even once. Only the earnings could be distributed. The core capital could never be liquidated by any single generation. 100 years later, that trust still exists, and the original capital has been compounding for over a century. $1 invested at 10% annual return becomes $259 in 10 years. Leave that same dollar at that same rate for 60 years. It becomes $34,000. Same dollar, same rate. The only variable is time. Old money families have been compounding for generations. Average families keep interrupting the compound curve by spending it. Meanwhile, research shows the average lottery winner blows through a $10 million jackpot in just 5 years. Not because they're bad people, because they were never taught to think beyond next month. Your brain cannot naturally think in 25-year horizons. It's not wired that way. So don't try to rewire everything at once. Instead, make one financial decision per year on a generational time frame. One retirement contribution. One small investment account for your child. The amount doesn't matter. The habit does. Start programming your brain to think generationally, one decision at a time. Here is the single question that old money parents ask their children, and it changes everything. What do you want to own when you grow up? Not what do you want to be, what do you want to own? That one word contains the entire psychological gap between generational wealth and the paycheck cycle. Middle-class culture programs you to optimize for income, get a good job, good salary, promotions, maximize your earnings. And look, that's not a terrible path for survival. But here's the psychological trap buried inside it. Income stops when you stop working. Injury, illness, burnout, bad economy. The money disappears. The Astor family built their initial fortune on fur trading. But what kept them rich across generations? Real estate. At one point, they owned an estimated 1/15 of all Manhattan real estate. Not stocks they could panic sell. Physical land in the most valuable city in the world. Land that appreciates. Land that generates rent. Land that passes down. Person A is a doctor, earns $300,000 a year. Brilliant, hard-working. Person B owns a property portfolio worth $3 million, generating $180,000 a year in passive income. On paper, Person A earns more. But Person A's wealth creation stops the second they stop working. Person B can be asleep, on vacation, in a hospital. The money keeps flowing. And 20 years from now, that $3 million portfolio might be worth $9 million. Person A has a 401k. Person B has a dynasty. Old money parents know this distinction at a cellular level. It's why they don't ask, "What do you want to be?" They ask, "What do you want to own?" Behavioral economists call it the escalation of commitment trap. We keep doubling down on income because that's the only system we know. Break it with one question every month. How do I convert this money into something that earns money while I sleep? Even a small dividend stock. A stake in a friend's business. Train your brain to think like an owner, not just an earner. Quick pause. If this is making you think differently about money, hit that like button right now. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who need to hear this. And subscribe if you haven't. We break down the psychology behind wealth and financial decisions every single week. Now back to it, because the next 3 pillars are where it gets really interesting. Here's something that might sound wrong at first. Old money families do not revere formal education the way the middle class does. Wait, before you click away, hear me out. Middle-class education is a certification system. You earn a degree to signal to employers that you're qualified to work for them. The entire framework, every test, every grade, every diploma, is designed to make you a more valuable employee. Old money education is a power system. They educate their children to understand how the world actually works, how money flows, how legal systems operate, how to negotiate, how to read a financial statement, not to understand a business, but to understand power. A 12-year-old in an old money family might hear their father explain at dinner why they structured a business deal a certain way. A grandmother who manages the family trust explains fiduciary duty like it's completely normal conversation. These aren't textbook lessons. They're real skills absorbed in real context. The psychological concept here is contextual learning. Knowledge absorbed in real-world situations sticks far longer than classroom knowledge. And old money children are surrounded by adults who live this language every single day. The skills they prioritize? Not coding, not medicine. Meta skills. How to evaluate credibility. How to identify good advisors from bad ones. How to structure agreements that protect your interests. How to sit across from someone in a negotiation and not flinch. These are skills that compound, just like money does. You don't need to be old money to start this. Begin having one money conversation per week in your household. Not budgeting, not save more, but real concepts. What is an asset? How does a trust work? Why do companies structure debt a certain way? You don't need all the answers. Learning together is the program. Think about 2008, the global financial crisis. Markets collapsing, banks failing, retirement accounts being wiped out overnight. What did most middle-class investors do? They sold everything. They got out. They stopped the bleeding. And that emotional response, completely understandable, deeply human, turned a temporary paper loss into a permanent, real loss. Because the people who sold at the bottom missed one of the greatest bull markets in history. From 2009 to 2019, markets recovered over 400%. Old money families, almost without exception, bought in 2008 and 2009. Not because they had a crystal ball, because they had emotional discipline. Here's the science behind why this is so hard for the rest of us. Behavioral economist Daniel Kahneman proved something that should change how you think about every financial decision. The psychological pain of losing $1,000 is roughly twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining the same $1,000. This asymmetry, called loss aversion, causes most people to make systematically irrational financial decisions. Hold losing positions too long, sell winners too early, avoid good opportunities because they might go wrong. Old money children are not raised in households where money is a source of anxiety. That constant background hum of financial fear, what psychologists call the scarcity mindset, is simply absent from their upbringing. Your emotional brain fires in seconds. Your rational brain needs time. 48 hours is enough to separate the fear from the analysis. This one habit alone could save you from your worst financial mistakes. Here is the deepest psychological shift of all, and it fits in one sentence. Old money families don't see themselves as owners of wealth. They see themselves as stewards of it. The money isn't theirs to consume. They are temporarily the caretakers of something larger than themselves. Something that existed before they were born and will exist long after they die.